And, you're signing a brand new media rights deal, and the players get no cut of that. And when they got Caitlin Clark's support, that only helps as well. So that's the way I see all that actually going down and actually transpiring. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert didn't seem too concerned about it, to be honest. I've heard that there was more progress made in the meetings than has been let on publicly. But of course, the shirts led to all this discourse, which I've dove into as well. But there are some other.
The ongoing WNBA salary discussions and collective bargaining negotiations have generated significant attention, though much of the surrounding discourse appears to be strategic positioning rather than genuine stalemate. Current contract talks involve both sides maintaining firm stances until approaching deadline pressures, which represents typical negotiation dynamics. Neither party would benefit from work stoppage scenarios, as such disruptions would eliminate the league's current growth momentum. The expectation involves extensive posturing, meetings characterized as confrontational, and eventual agreement providing increased player compensation. This outcome seems inevitable given the league's expansion status, rising attendance figures, improved television ratings, and new media rights agreements. Clark's presence and popularity strengthen the players' negotiating position significantly.
Into as well, but there are some other aspects and some other wrinkles I want to touch on. The last and latest being this viral Kelsey Plum dig, if you will. And I was in the room for this. It did strike me as very odd in the moment when she said what she said. I wrote it off as kind of awkward, but let me play it for you again, and then I'll respond after the fact. This is what Kelsey Plum said about the T-shirts, and you can, Sabrina Ionescu's reaction kind of said it all.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has appeared relatively unconcerned about potential conflicts, with reports suggesting more progress in private discussions than public statements indicate. The visible unity demonstrations, including coordinated messaging apparel, have sparked considerable debate across various platforms. Recent attention focused on comments made by Kelsey Plum during All-Star Weekend activities. The remarks appeared awkward and unnecessary, particularly given the timing during contract negotiations. Plum referenced team dynamics while discussing the coordinated messaging effort, specifically noting the absence of certain participants during planning meetings. The comment struck observers as poorly timed and delivered.
The T-shirts, and you can, Sabrina Ionescu's reaction kind of said it all.
That was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United Front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very not really needed to.
While possibly intended as lighthearted competitive banter, the statement lacked clarity and created uncomfortable moments. Plum attempted to clarify her intentions by indicating she was trying to maintain levity, but the execution fell short of that goal. Such commentary serves no constructive purpose during sensitive negotiation periods. Criticizing any player, particularly one significantly responsible for league growth and improved negotiating leverage, appears counterproductive to collective bargaining objectives. The timing makes such statements especially problematic given their potential impact on public perception and negotiation dynamics. Financial transparency represents another crucial aspect of current discussions.
Very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very not really needed to be mentioned. I'm trying to make a situation light, okay? But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that it was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
So it was definitely awkward what Kelsey Plum said. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and that she was attempting to have some trash talk there. She had taken a shot at Team Caitlin Clark and how much better Team College.
Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports defended player salary increase demands, highlighting the murky nature of league financial reporting. His analysis pointed out that widely cited loss figures lack proper context and verification, with league finances intentionally obscured through NBA connections. Portnoy argued that franchise ownership deliberately maintains financial opacity to limit salary increase obligations during bargaining periods. The league's explosive growth in multiple revenue streams, ticket sales, merchandise, television rights, and franchise valuations supports player demands for increased compensation. He emphasized that players exercise their contractual opt-out rights strategically to maximize leverage during renegotiations. For the first time in league history, players possess significant bargaining power due to demonstrated market value and growth metrics.
Much better Team Collier was earlier in the game, and not associate that directly with Caitlin Clark. One, because of the delivery and the awkwardness involved there, and her saying she's trying to lighten the mood. So I think that's what that was supposed to be, but it was completely unnecessary. Didn't need to be said, and certainly putting it out there publicly doesn't help anyone's case. There is no benefit to that statement from Kelsey Plum, but it would be insane.
Current salary structures appear drastically inadequate compared to league expansion and revenue increases. Franchise valuations now reach hundreds of millions of dollars, representing massive appreciation from previous levels. The franchise value argument proves particularly compelling because sports organizations frequently operate at technical losses while building long-term asset value. Similar to artwork or other appreciating investments, team ownership provides value through asset appreciation rather than immediate profit generation. This dynamic allows for employee compensation increases despite operational deficits. Many established sports franchises and startup businesses operate with negative cash flow while maintaining competitive employee compensation.
To shade Caitlin Clark in the midst of these CBA negotiations. We've seen it happen before. It's not as if people haven't shaded Caitlin Clark, but it would be absolutely incomprehensible for any player or anyone associated with trying to get the league more money to shade Caitlin Clark, who is as responsible or more responsible or is responsible for the growth more so than anyone could possibly be. And for the player.
The principle applies directly to WNBA salary discussions, where player value clearly exceeds current compensation levels regardless of short-term operational metrics. Revenue growth patterns support player demands across multiple categories. Attendance increases, merchandising expansion, media rights improvements, and sponsorship growth all indicate sustainable financial improvement. These positive trends cannot continue indefinitely without corresponding salary adjustments for the talent generating such value. Both negotiating parties maintain expected positions entering formal discussions.
And for the players being in the negotiating position that they are currently in. Now, back to that negotiating position for just a second. I thought this was interesting, and it received some interesting feedback online because of the source. Dave Portnoy of Barstool put out a post. I think he put out a video later as well. But he defended the WNBA players. And he's obviously an ardent Caitlin Clark supporter and Indiana Fever supporter as a result. But noteworthy, he didn't mention Caitlin Clark in the statement at all. And he brought
players attempt to leverage public pressure through visibility campaigns and unified messaging. League ownership typically maintains superior leverage through greater financial resources and operational control. Historical precedent suggests this situation will follow familiar patterns despite unique WNBA circumstances. Initial positions appear far apart, with claims of insulting offers and unreasonable demands. Potential delays might affect expansion timeline planning, though substantial time remains for resolution.
At all, and he brought up something that I actually didn't bring up in the previous videos. So here's what his statement said. I see lots of morons trying to act like WNBA players don't deserve more money. They're throwing around this lost $50 million number that nobody even knows where it comes from. The finances of the league are a mess, tied in with the NBA and purposely murky. The owners don't want to say how the league is doing because then you got to pay more going into a bargaining agreement. The league is exploding. Franchise values are exploding. Ticket sales, merchandise, TV rights, all exploding. The players have an
Commissioner Engelbert recently indicated flexibility regarding deadlines, suggesting fine-tuning continues without rigid time constraints. This approach allows for comprehensive negotiation without artificial pressure points that might force premature or inadequate agreements. The likelihood of work stoppage remains minimal given potential momentum loss and revenue disruption for all parties. Rational economic interests favor negotiated settlement, providing reasonable salary increases while maintaining league operations and growth trajectory. Previous collective bargaining experiences across various sports leagues demonstrate similar patterns of public posturing followed by private compromise.
I think is pretty cool that I want to take a look at. So The physical and mental toll of the 2025 season has added up for the Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. Quote, "This is the first time I haven't felt like a young body that can run around and sprint every day and just continue to do that," Clark said in an event during All-Star Weekend per Glamour. "Being a professional athlete, you really have to take care of both your body and your mind. It's
The WNBA situation includes unique elements due to recent growth and visibility increases, but fundamental negotiation dynamics remain consistent with historical examples. Public discourse will likely continue throughout the negotiation period, with both sides attempting to influence perception and maintain pressure. However, underlying economic realities and mutual interests in continued growth should ultimately produce acceptable compromise agreements. The resolution timeline may extend considerably, but catastrophic breakdown appears unlikely given the stakes involved for all participants. Players deserve compensation increases reflecting their contribution to league success, while ownership requires sustainable financial structures supporting continued expansion and development.
care of both your body and your mind. It's been a journey learning about that. The reigning Rookie of the Year has been limited to 13 games. Wow. Thanks to separate quad and groin injuries. She last suited up in Indiana's 85-77 win over the Sun on July 15th and missed all of the All-Star festivities. Yesterday, Stephanie White said there is no timeline. By the way, Clark's meeting with her own doctors at this.
Caitlin Clark's recent statements during All-Star Weekend reveal significant concerns about her physical and mental condition throughout the 2025 season. The Indiana Fever star acknowledged experiencing unprecedented physical challenges, marking the first time she hasn't felt capable of maintaining youthful energy levels and continuous high-intensity activity. Clark's admission that "this is the first time I haven't felt like a young body that can run around and sprint every day and just continue to do that" signals a concerning development for someone known for exceptional conditioning and endurance. Her emphasis on learning to care for both physical and mental health as a professional athlete suggests adaptation to previously unfamiliar challenges. The reigning Rookie of the Year's availability has been severely limited, appearing in only 13 games due to separate quadriceps and groin injuries.
Timeline. By the way, Clark's meeting with her own doctors at this point. I do not blame her for that at all. Is it just me, or is she's lost a lot of faith in the Indiana Fever regime, I think, in general. Whether that's, I don't know that she's lost faith in the coach, although I suspect it, but just everything, the training staff. I mean, this is after you've been hurt this much, I don't blame her. I'm hoping her.
Her last appearance came during Indiana's 85-77 victory over Connecticut on July 15th, after which she missed all All-Star Weekend activities. Current coach Stephanie White has provided no timeline for Clark's return, with the player now consulting independent medical professionals. Clark's decision to seek outside medical opinions raises questions about confidence in the Indiana Fever's organizational support systems. This development suggests potential concerns about training staff competency and injury management protocols. The pattern of recurring injuries and extended recovery periods may have prompted intervention from Clark's representation and family members seeking alternative medical perspectives.
Her agent got involved, and probably her folks too, and said, look, we need to get some second opinions here. For Clark, the hardships caused by injuries are compounded by the burden placed on her as one of the WNBA's most visible faces. Obviously, I love playing basketball, but it can be stressful having so many eyes on you all the time during the season. You're just going game to game to game, she said. Clark made a
Beyond physical challenges, Clark addressed the psychological burden of being among the WNBA's most recognizable figures. She acknowledged that while basketball remains enjoyable, constant scrutiny creates significant stress throughout the season. The relentless game-to-game schedule amplifies pressure when combined with intense public attention and media coverage. Clark emphasized the importance of mental health awareness, particularly regarding public perceptions of athletes. Her comments about people viewing athletes as perpetually happy and living glamorous lifestyles contradict reality, where professional competitors face similar struggles as others.
Larger point about the value of maintaining mental health. When you have an athlete or role model you look up to, it's easy to see them as always happy and living a glamorous life, but it's not always like that, she said. We go through the difficult things too. Being able to lean on people and tell them your frustration or that you're not okay is really important. Listen to this stat. There's no question the Fever need Clark on the court. At 12-12, they've struggled.
She stressed the value of having support systems and expressing frustrations or difficulties when they arise. Statistical analysis demonstrates Clark's crucial importance to team performance. Indiana's offensive efficiency drops by 8.9 points per 100 possessions when Clark sits on the bench, highlighting her irreplaceable value to team success. At 12 overall, the Fever struggle to maintain positive momentum without their primary offensive catalyst. This statistical reality makes questionable coaching decisions regarding Clark's playing time particularly problematic.
12, they've struggled to maintain positive momentum. Check this out. And Indiana is 8.9 points worse per 100 possessions when Clark is on the bench. When she's on the bench now, Stephanie White. So not only throwing that out there for the injury, but for the nonsensical times you decide to just throw her on the bench as she's warming up.
Removing her from games during hot shooting streaks or momentum-building periods contradicts basic basketball strategy. Clark herself has mentioned the importance for shooters to continue when performing well, rather than interrupting positive rhythm. Clark's gesture toward her former Iowa programs demonstrates maintained connection to her collegiate roots. She surprised both men's and women's basketball teams with player-exclusive Nike Kobe 5 Pro shoes in her signature colorway. Iowa women's coach Jan Jensen expressed gratitude for Clark's continued support and relationship with the program.
Throw her on the bench as she's warming up and she's getting hot, and it's like, oh, we can't have that. Let me get her. Well, she's coming out of the game. Wait, what? What's happening? Again, Caitlin Clark also over the weekend alluded to, as a shooter, if you get hot, you want to keep shooting. Not a time to take the momentum away. On Tuesday, the Indiana Fever guard, Caitlin Clark, surprised the Iowa Hawkeyes men's and women's basketball.
The Iowa fan base's continued support for former players represents exceptional loyalty rarely seen in college athletics. Their enthusiasm extends beyond Clark to include Kate Martin.
Men's and women's basketball teams, with pairs of her own player-exclusive colorway of the Nike Kobe 5 Pro shoe. Quote, thanks to Caitlin Clark for being great. We feel so blessed. Iowa's women's basketball head coach Jan Jensen said. Let's take a look right here.
Friends,
this is pretty cool.
Right we have one of the best Nike reps. We have a good relationship with our Nike. Our friends in the equipment room, and hook us up with Caitlin's shoes.
This loyalty extends across multiple players and seasons, creating substantial value for professional teams. The prospect of Iowa hosting a WNBA franchise appears increasingly viable given demonstrated fan support for women's basketball. The region's enthusiasm for former players suggests strong potential attendance and engagement for professional women's basketball. This support foundation exceeds many current WNBA markets in consistency and passion. Clark's recent public demeanor suggests growing frustration with current circumstances.